Hello, this is Eugenia with Radiant Warrior Living, and I'm here today to talk to you about conditioning and limiting beliefs, or the energy blocks, which are limiting beliefs, interpretations, assumptions, and gremlins, uh, and the role they play in our life. Throughout our life, or when we are growing up, we become a product of our environment, whether we like it or not. And that's where conditioning comes in. So our family, our teachers, everybody around us become a part of our psyche and who we grow up to be. And very often we take our beliefs, things we hear about ourselves, as the truth about who we are. I've talked about it in my previous videos a lot because I do believe that conditioning is a big part of our life, and also understanding your own conditioning and where you come from, what kind of an environment, and how it influenced you and how it continues to influence you. But I believe that major influence has happened when you were younger and you've taken it forward with you. So, conditioning is not a bad thing. There's nothing, good or bad. I think it's more about understanding where have you taken conditioning as something that is the truth for you. Where have you taken other people's view of you, the faith that they've had in you or did not have in you, their perception of you as the truth for yourself, as well as looking at the 4 energy blocks, which are, like I said, the limiting beliefs, assumptions, interpretations, and gremlins. There is a little bit of a difference between the 4 of them, and you don't have to necessarily identify each one of them separately. I think it's more, and the reason I want to bring it up, because I find that very often in my personal life and in my interaction with the world, and I see that with my clients and people around me, all of these factors, these energy blocks, play a big role in how we go through life. And so being able to understand where some of the beliefs, some of the assumptions, some of the interpretations, some of the story comes from, so you can start having more awareness around how you live life coming from those limiting beliefs or those assumptions and interpretations. And the bigger one out of the 4 is the gremlin, or the gremlins. And that's that voice that we all have, that inner voice inside us. And usually the theme of that voice is around, I'm not good enough. It could be, I'm not smart enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not worthy, but something around, I'm not enough. And being able to really clearly tune into that voice and being able to hear it, acknowledge it. There's no way that you'll be able to completely cut it out, but knowing that it's there and not letting that voice drive everything you do is the key. So let me tell you a very quick story about my life. So there was a little girl, and that little girl wanted to please others, and she knew that the only way to be in the environment, because she's heard that, you got to be nice to others, you got to be polite, you got to ensure that people have a good opinion of you. So her way of going through life was pleasing others and being a good girl and being nice. And so those were the stories that were taken by her into her adult life. And very often her decisions in life were taken and were coming from a place of ensuring, first and foremost, that other people were happy, that she was polite to others, even though at times they were not polite to her, and not always standing up for what she believed in, because she knew that it could change the status quo, rock the boat, etc. So that story and all of these beliefs and all of these conditioning has been taken forward into her adult life. And she's grown up as an adult who thought of others very often more than she thought about herself. And she went out of her way to please others. And she lived a life of ensuring that others were happy around her. And that equilibrium was really hard to keep, because by keeping part of her family happy, she maybe made other people unhappy. And eventually, when she's become, she's gotten older, and she had her own kids, it became something that she was struggling with, because she now had her own goals in life, and she always did, but she always put other goals and other people's life in front of hers. And there came a time when she needed to make some decisions that were a part of her life, where she realized she can no longer live making her family happy, ensuring that people don't judge her and that she might rock the boat. So she basically overcame fear of being rejected, not being accepted, being judged, being rejected by her family, and started making decisions based on what made her happy. It took a lot of work to truly understand what it is that would make her happy, and how is it that she needs to go through life to ensure that she took care of herself and her children first and foremost. So moving forward, she realized that without truly understanding where her beliefs came from, and how she was conditioned to be this nice girl and good girl, and she's heard about all these expressions that we've heard as kids. Kids are there to be seen, not heard, and all of these things that have become something in the back of her mind, and has taken it forward to realize, or to think about it in a way that her life was maybe not as important, as and her decisions were not as important, and maybe she wasn't fully capable of making some big decisions in her life. So eventually it took a lot of internal work and looking at the limiting beliefs and the assumptions. And I'm talking about myself here, and I'm being very honest that it's been a lot of work in the last 15, 20 years for me to really separate where, do I come into the picture, and where is my conditioning coming in? Where is the expectations and limiting beliefs and the stories I've heard from my family, who love me very much, and who continues to love me, and who have their own things and their own ideas about how, what happiness is, how life should be. And being able to understand that what others expect of you and what you want sometimes could be completely different things. And as much as it is hard, eventually we need to start thinking about what is it that we think is the right thing for us. If we don't get to that place, it's a perpetual search for something outside of ourselves. So conditioning plays a big role, and the limiting beliefs play a huge role, as well as interpretations and assumptions. And there's ways to challenge that. And there's ways to start separating what are some of the beliefs that I have outgrown that are causing me to feel like I cannot do things, or that are blocking me from moving forward. So it's really doing some of the work internally and having awareness around what drives you, what stories have you created in your life. I have an analogy that I use for myself a lot, and I use with my clients. Those beliefs and the conditioning that we have grown up with, and the those energy blocks that we carry with us in our life, is like clothes, right? It's something that has become a big part of our life. It's like clothes, it's like the accessories or things that we wear, in our little backpack as we go through life. Now, some of that clothes, some of those beliefs no longer fit. It's like a small dress that you wore as a little girl, or a small suit that you wore as a little boy, that no longer fits you, who you've grown out to be, and who you've grown up to be, and you no longer can put it on. So some of those beliefs, or a lot of those beliefs and assumptions and interpretations, is what is like that clothes. So if you look at that and start thinking about what is it in my life that is holding me back, that no longer fits who I am? How is it limiting my expression of myself? How is it limiting me in moving forward? How is it stopping me? Or how is it making me perceive myself as someone incapable or somebody who's not good enough? All of these questions will help you see and separate your truth from the stuff that you've learned as you've been going through life, and the stories that you've created, and things that you've been carrying with you in your backpack. So next time when you think that there's something that comes up that you're not creative enough, or you're not good enough to apply for a job that might be a great opportunity, question that. Is that really my truth, or is that something I've taken from someone else and I've taken it as my own truth? Questioning some of your beliefs and understanding where they come from, and separating what's yours and what's not, and what you want to take forward into your future to help you be successful and happy and connected to what you're doing, to your life force, is what will allow you to get on this journey, or to continue being on this journey, and also to thrive as you, and to get closer to your own passions, your own desires, your own beliefs, and having faith in yourself. And that's the ultimate goal, is having faith in who you are and where you're going, and that you're absolutely capable to get there and get wherever you want to, and be happy and satisfied with your life. So I wish you best of luck. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Thank you.